So I want to come over here today and I want to talk about the spirit of deception, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. So bear with me today because it's going to get real. It's going to get real. So last time I talked about the word control and what that word means when someone is trying to control a person based on their own trauma or what they've been through. But when I'm talking about the spirit of deception first begins with a lie, right? And as I was sitting here, and this word came to me yesterday because I was, when I came home, it was just something in me, it just lit a fire in me, and I just basically started, going back over, like the course of things that happened in my life, and I started to look in my past journals. And let me tell you, this is not even this not does not even touch the surface of the journals I had. But when I had moved and I had things in storage, I lost a lot of my journals. But the ones that I do have, when I went back through them, it just showed me how much I was dealing with the spirit of deception, which is the spirit of a lie, right? When people come into your life and they lie to you for their own reasons and selfish gain. And so what I believe that the spirit of the Most High was basically saying, or what I was basically saying to the Most High as I was reading, through it, and then just going back over the course of certain experience that I had, I'm like, God, why was it that I was always dealing with a lying spirit? Like everybody that I was basically dealing with, it was no truth there. It was basically, it was a hidden agenda, a hidden motive, and things of that nature. And I'm like, what is the purpose of me having to deal with this type of energy, right? And when I had to realize is that because when the Most High has transformed you, you're no longer operating in low vibrational energies. When you are now becoming that person who now stands for truth, who stands for, for a good character and integrity. So when you are standing in that truth, you're going to now come against those energies that come to deceive you, right? They come to lie to you. So what I believe the Most High was basically showing me is that I want you to be able to discern that from, that which is truth from that which is a lie, because these energies are coming and they will come in a guise of being spiritual. They will come in a guise of having certain lingo or language. But I want to give you a scripture because this was, let me see, where is it? Okay. Jeremiah 17:10, it says, I, the Lord, search the mind. I test the heart to give each man according to his way, according to the results of his deeds. So what that scripture basically is saying, regardless of what's coming out of a person's mouth, they can be sitting here telling you they love you, they want a future with you. They can be telling you everything and it sounds good to you because you're believing them, because you're sometimes we move in the energy of what we're in or how we operate. Because if you're a person who operates in truth, if you are a person who operates in integrity, you would think that, well, why would another person come and lie to me? Because there's no need to, be who you are. If you're not gonna show up as your true authentic self, then why lie to gain access to a person when you actually know that's not who you truly are? But again, what that scripture was saying to me is God is saying, regardless of what comes out of a person's mouth, I test their heart. Because if your heart and your words are not in alignment, then that means that you're coming to deceive. You're basically saying things, but that's really not where your heart is. And people don't understand there's a price to pay when you try to deceive people, especially who are coming in truth and righteousness. They have no ill will toward you, right? So I wrote some notes down, some notes I had to type because it was like it was just coming to me so fast. I couldn't write I was getting tired and I will end up writing so sloppy I won't be able to even read my own writing. So I wanted to break down the word lie, which we probably know what it means, but it says a lie is a false reality someone creates for you to live inside. I want to repeat that. A lie is a false reality someone creates for you to live inside. Because when a person lies to you, especially in a romantic connection, they are just not hiding information. They are altering your perception of who they are so that you will respond to that version of them that does not truly exist. So when a person comes in, and what I would say is how they lie to you, maybe, you're a person who basically say, I don't mess with people who are married. I'm not that type of person. I will never get into a connection or relationship with someone who is married, or even if they're still with another person, regardless, because I wouldn't want that done to me, right? But when a person comes in your life and they're basically, maybe they're going through a little argument with, their spouse or who are their significant other, but because they have this push and pull dynamic, they argue, they break up, they make up, and they're back and forth with each other. So in actuality, they're really not trying to leave this person, but they're out there exploring other options because they're really not satisfied with the person who they're with. So they come to you in the guise of them being single, they're devoted, they're a faithful person, they want the connection, they want long term, but all of that is deception, right? And what a person doesn't understand, that when you come in that energy, and what a person, because, we take people at face value, because I believe that as an adult, why do you need to lie to someone about your status, whether you're single, married, or whatever that is, right? Because you need to give that person the opportunity to choose whether they want to be in a connection with you. But when you don't do that, what you do now is you cause a rupture in that foundation, because the foundation was really never stable. It really wasn't a foundation built on truth, because that person came in with deception from the start. So the person that you're thinking that you're entertaining based on the lie they told you is not really the person who they are. And how you end up kind of finding that out, because just like I read that scripture, Jeremiah 10, about the Lord, search the heart, he tries the reins. But what ends up happening is, now when you have like some time in that connection, maybe you're thinking it's going to go somewhere, but then after a while you start seeing, wait a minute, certain things are not lining up with what, this person told me who they are. Certain things are not lining up with the, things they say or how they move. So now it brings a spirit of confusion, right? Because the word of the Most High says God is not the author of confusion. And why is there confusion? Because you're holding up what this person said to you in the beginning of who they were and how they would operate in this connection, but now you're seeing how they're moving, and those two are not, they're not gelling, they're not in alignment. So now you're left to now say, well, wait a minute, but you told me X, Y, and Z, and this goes across the board. It's not just men who do it, it's women who do it too. So I'm not here to take sides, but I'm here to make a point. But then this is what John 8:44 says. It says the devil does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him, right? When he lies, he speaks from what is natural to him. For he is a liar and the father of lies. What does that word father of lies mean? Meaning he's the author of it. He's the originator of it. So anyone that's operating in that deception to deceive a person, whether it is to get money, to get, to be intimate with that person, to just give this person a false sense of who they are because they want to gain some type of access to this person, they're operating in that same energy as the enemy, because they're not coming in truth. And the thing about it, for a person who values their integrity, values their, character before the Most High, and a person comes in knowing full well that they are not available for a connection because they're already in one, regardless of what that connection looks like, what ends up happening is now unknowingly you now set that other person up to basically, even though I know the divine covers us, the divine protects us, right? But what ends up happening is now you done fed this person a version of you that doesn't exist, right? So now when that person understands that that's not who you are anymore, so now they have to go through the process of now decoding who you really are, because now they understand, why am I in this confusion? Why is this person not showing up the way that they say who they were in the beginning? And I'm going to read a couple of more things to you before I get off of here. Let's see. Okay, so let me go down here. If someone asks you, are you single, and you say yes, knowing that you are still married, still entangled, still going back and forth with someone, still sleeping with them, or still leaving that door open, then you have not simply left out detail. You have introduced yourself under false pretenses. You already knew before you pursued that person that if you told the full truth, they may not respond in the same way. They may not open the door. They may not allow you into their life. They may not consent to that kind of connection at all. So instead of giving them the truth and allowing them the dignity to choose for themselves, you give them a version of reality that benefits you. You see how that's deception? Okay, and let's go down. And that is what makes a lie so violating, because truth gives a person the freedom to choose, and deception tries to gain access by taking away that choice. And again, that's another form of control, because you already know that if you come in, like, this is what I say when it comes to us adults, and there are people out here who will agree to be in connections with other people who are in connections with other people. But there are people out here who don't roll that way, who don't live that lifestyle. And by people coming into their lives pretending that this is who they are, but that's not who really they're not. Do you understand the wages of sin is death? And when I really sat back and went through my journals, today, and just thinking back on things that I had to encounter, and I said, okay, God, this is what I'm called to do. I'm called to overcome the lies with truth. And this is why always I'm dealing with a lying spirit, because of the integrity that I stand in, the integrity that I try to move forward in, and be authentic with people. Tell people that, even when, and let me give grace here, because there's two sides of the coin. Because there are people, and I was one of them, who is married, right? But they have fully separated from that ex. They are going toward divorce. They're no longer in communication. They're no longer living with that person. It's like it's dead. The relationship is over. So when you enter into a connection to meet someone or talk to someone, you're upfront about where you are in your status. You're not basically sitting here trying to blindside somebody, because you're giving them the choice to basically say, okay, well, if this is you're pursuing this, and this is what's happening, then I appreciate you being honest and truthful with me. But for people who are basically coming in on a lie, let me tell you something. Let me say this. You woke up a sleeping giant, and every time I get up, every time the Most High calls Michelle to wake up and open her eyes before my feet hit the floor, I'm giving the enemy a headache. Because I'm like, you always touching me. You think because, I'm kind and I'm generous, I have a loving heart. Yes, all that is true. Nothing of that has changed. No human being on the face of God's green earth can change that. But trust and believe, you have activated the warrior in me. And because of that, now I'm coming full force. I'm coming after everything that the Most High said I can have. I'm coming for every lying spirit that tried to come against me, my family, my lineage, my legacy, my generational wealth. Everything I'm coming after. And whoever stands in my way, God forbid, you better know whose side you on. Because let me say this. Let me say this. For the weapons of my warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through the Most High, for pulling down strongholds and casting down every vain imagination that it would exalt itself against the knowledge of the Most High. I equip the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness. My loins are girded with the belt of truth. My feet are shod with the gospel of peace. I have the shield of faith and the sword of the Spirit that quenches every fiery dart. So even when deception tries to come my way, and maybe I don't recognize it on the onset, but as the Most High gives me downloads, as the Most High reveals things to me, trust and believe, I'm coming after everything that tried to come and destroy and kill, steal, and destroy. Because once I gave my life to the Most High, as Yeshua said, no man take my life, because I already laid it down. And even though I walk through situations of trauma, I walk through situations of mental and emotional and sometimes even physical abuse. But now that God has taught me and showed me who he has called me to be, do you think for 1 second I'm going to lay back and sit back and act like now that I don't know who I am? I know who I am now, and I'm standing in my power, and I'm coming after everything that the enemy thought that he stole from me. I'm coming back from the time because God says he's a redeemer of the time. All that time that was wasted on low vibrational energies, I'm calling that back. All energies that was trying to come and cipher my energy, I'm calling that back. All energies that came and tried to usurp the authority over my life and tried to take my finances, I'm calling that back, because I'm not only stepping into the power of a warrior, I'm stepping into the power of a generational wealth carrier, and I'm coming to help and to make sure that other people who are waking up, that they have that authority and they can open their mouths and speak forth what the word of the Most High says. And I'm going to leave with this because, oh Lord, help me today. Help me today, because I'm not playing. And now I'm in the energy of just getting it done. So this is what I'm going to leave you with. I used to think I simply encountered a lot of dishonest people, but the deeper I grew spiritually, the more I began to recognize the pattern underneath it. It was not just lies, it was deception. And deception is one of the oldest spirits that opposes truth. From the garden, the serpent did not come with open destruction first. He came with deception, because if the enemy can distort what is true, he can pull you out of alignment with God has called you to be. And when I looked back over my life, I realized that many of the battles I faced came through people who lied for gain, lied from envy, lied to manipulate, lied to gain access that they knew they would not receive if truth came in. But now I understand something. When you are called to stand in truth, to break cycles, to expose darkness, one of the first things you will have to learn is how to discern deception. Not because every lie is about you, but because the spirit of deception is always threatened by a person who has made truth their dwelling place. And this is why words alone do not move God. God searches the heart. You can speak love, loyalty, righteousness from your mouth, but if your heart is filled with deceit, your words and your spirit are not in alignment, God desires the truth in the inward parts, not performance on the lips. So I'm going to close with that, and maybe I'll give you, no, I think, oh Lord, help me. I think I'm finished right there. So I don't know what this transition the Most High has taken me through, but trust and believe I'm coming full force. You have not seen the last of me, because it's go time.